and we'll bring Barrett Brooks into the conversation. I want to get his thoughts on these two players. Sportrack.com. It's a website that runs statistics that come up with a financial estimation based on the players' numbers, their statistics from their season. So, Barrett, based on Sam Bradford's number, this website values his current market value for Sam Bradford to be 3 years, $55.9 million, which comes out to about $18.6 million per year. Does that sound like a fair deal for Sam Bradford?
As far as what he brings to the table, as far as his playing ability, I would say yes. But his fair market value, I'm going to say no. His fair market value is going to be a lot more than that, simply because there's nothing else out there better than him at this point in free agency. And because of that, he's not going to give the hometown special to the Philadelphia Eagles. He's going to be a higher staff. He's going to go out and get the most money he can and maximize his money-making potential at this point. I can't see him taking any less just because he wants to be a Philadelphia Eagle, especially when there's teams like the Texans, who's a quarterback away from making it to the Super Bowl, teams like Cleveland, who now has a good head coach and will run an offense that will be good for anybody. When you have teams like that out there, they want to win, and they're going to pay top dollar to get those type of guys in the organization.
Yeah, and I think you're right about that. I mean, I think he's going to probably get a better deal than that, but if the Eagles were able to convince him to stay at that type of deal, is that a win for Howie Roseman?
Of course. Anytime, in my honest opinion, anywhere from 21 to 18 is probably fair for him. You know, if they can convince him to take anywhere from 18 to 21, then yes, you know, that's a hometown deal. That's a little home cooking. That's showing this organization that he definitely wants to be a Philadelphia Eagle. If you be real about the situation and really evaluate what's going on, a team like the Texans, who can now afford to go out and get a quarterback, they're going to pay upwards of anywhere from 21 to 25 mil a year. I mean, that's just the basis on how free agency goes, is what have you done for me lately league. And I really believe that, you know, he always catches the NFL at the most opportune times for him to make money. He's probably the only guy that I know that played his full entire contract out. He made every single red cent of that $78 million he initially signed his rookie year with the big contracts that rookies were getting. So,
yep,
he luck of the draw. He's always there on time.
Yes, he does. He's made a pretty penny in his career, and he's about to do it again. The other guy on this list for websites here, Barrett, is Vinny Curry, and they estimate him to be a 4-year, $26.9 million player with an average of 6.7 per year. Now, that's a big boost from where he was, $845,000 a year. 4 years, $26 million, $27 million, really, when you look at 26.9. Do you think he's going to get more than that?
Yeah, I think he's going to get more than that also, just because, you know, the quality snaps that he had out there, the quality rushes that he had out there, really puts him in a good position, because he has film now. Even though he didn't get a lot of film, he made sure he maximized his reps every time he had the opportunity to go out there and play. And when he played hard every single snap. He played the run. He showed he could play the run. He showed he could play on the interior when they did put him in inside. He played well inside. I just think that he really went out there and made sure that he was good at what he did, showed everybody in the world, and look, I am a good player. So, I mean, bottom line is he's also a guy that's going to deserve and going to garner a lot more than the Eagles really want to pony up to pay him.
Barrett Brooks with us, Super Bowl champion. Breakfast on Broad, weekday mornings from 6 to 8 on the Comcast channel. We'll get into the Super Bowl, get his thoughts on that here, because obviously, as you said last week on the show, Barrett, when you played in the Super Bowl, you didn't have the 2-week wait period. So do you think the 2-week wait period is something the players like? I would assume this is not something that they enjoy.
Absolutely not. You know, that's just another week of beating up their body, going out there and practicing hard. Because those practices before, you know, we had that week before, those are probably some of the hardest practices you have. You know, just because you have an extra week and they feel as though your body can sit back and get healthy before the next week when they, you know, things start really happening, when you're really close, when you finally realize that, yes, you are in the Super Bowl. At this point, not until they got there on Sunday night or Monday, whenever they got there, it hadn't really sunk in that they're in the Super Bowl. Now that they're there, now that they're around the festivities, they have had the day in which, the media night. Well, they call it media night. Now we have media day. They had the media night. Now, if you look at it, it's finally brought into perspective on, yes, I am in the Super Bowl. But up until then, it was just going out there practicing and, going home. I'm very sure that they really were going out there and practicing as hard as they can, hitting as hard as they can, and really showing, that they're ready to play. But it doesn't really sink in until, like I said just now.
Carolina is interesting. I mean, they had the number one offense in the league, Barrett. Cam Newton is that we undervalue some of the guys they have around them. We saw them play in Philly. Their defense jumped off the page at me, but what about Carolina's offense being the number one in the league?
Well, I'm going to say the truth, man. I mean, they're not undervalued. I just really feel as though they're not valued enough. You know what I mean? They're not really the guys that go out there and will jump on the page, especially fans. They are not really top-tier guys. I think that Cam is so good, he's making these guys look like they're top-notch guys, and that's really the gist of it. He's put his guys in a position they've become very, very good simply from his play, and I think his play is what's made this team as a whole be very, very dynamic in how they approach the game, even on the defensive side of the ball. When you know that your quarterback has the capability of scoring at will, and not just from throwing the rock, but understanding he's probably the ultimate weapon in the NFL, it makes some guys go out there and want to execute and make sure they get 3 and out, because when he potentially gets back on the field, they know they can get a score instantly.
Right now, best player in the league, Cam Newton, fair or unfair?
I would have to say that's very, very fair. We're talking about what he has, what he brings to the table, as far as when he's out there, the reps that he provides his team. He's made Ted Ginn and rejuvenated Ted Ginn's whole career. Ted Ginn hasn't blown the world up. When he was playing, he hasn't been a guy that people would say, all right, he's a top-tier receiver. It's because of Cam Newton's play, it's opened up a lot for Ted Ginn.
Sure has. And, you mentioned about Philadelphia, or we talk about Philadelphia not having, their wide receiver is not good enough. You look at what Carolina has at wide receiver. There's not a lot of teams in this league, Barrett, where wide receiver is a big spot for them. I mean, you don't see a lot of teams winning Super Bowl with the star wide receivers. And it's one of the reasons, I guess, you see what happened in Detroit, where Calvin Johnson said, look, I'm great, but we just can't win. I'm going to retire.
Well, I mean, he can do that. It might be something in the water. Well, I shouldn't say that. All the stuff that's going up there in Michigan at this point. But I will say that he doesn't have the people around him to maximize what he brings to the table, and I think that's what Ted Ginn is doing. He's a speedster. He takes the top off the defense, and because he's so good at doing that, receivers in the intermediate areas like the Costries and all those guys have really maximized how they're playing also. And the fact that you have a dual threat in the backfield, you're not just defending. Usually when you play a team, you're defending 10 guys, Well, actually, you're defending 5 guys, You're defending the receivers, the running backs, the tight ends, But with Cam, it's more than that. You're adding a quarterback to the equation also. So he has the ability to go out there and run. So you have to defend him also. So a lot of teams like the Eagles, you don't see Sam Bradford as a threat of running or anything else. But when you put a guy back there like Cam, who can potentially run, who can potentially throw the ball down the field, that's just one more person added to the equation that this defense has to defend. So they're defending 6 as opposed to the regular 5 that all the other teams are defending.
You mentioned Bradford. Do you put any more weight on Bradford in terms of, do you think he is a bigger asset out of the Kelly offense and now into a more conventional NFL offense?
Absolutely. Now he'll be in a position where he can check the plays, in which he's more cerebral than he was given credit for and that he was allowed to do while under Chip Kelly's reign. He didn't have the option of going out there and checking to a better play. I mean, I saw countless times when I broke down field on my show, that he didn't have the opportunity to do it. He couldn't check to a play in which we had an uncovered receiver out there sitting by himself all on his own. I mean, even though it was Miles Austin, He was wide open, all alone, nobody there. The defense had messed up. They lined up wrong. He didn't have that option to throw to Miles Austin because Miles Austin wasn't ready for it because he knew he couldn't check to it. So he turned around, looked at him, was going to throw a ball to him, and he didn't go through with it because he didn't have the ability to go ahead and do it. So that kills you every single time. When you don't have the ability or the option to be able to go ahead and just check to a play, it really kills you, because that means that the defense is one up. Sometimes they do have an opportunity and they have the perfect defense called. Well, it might not be the perfect defense you would call for a run play. So when he can't check to that run play, he has to stay with the pass and ties his hands behind his back.
Yeah, and right now, Bradford, that last game of the year, he had a little bit more freedom. He looked like a lot more loose quarterback, looked like a guy who was capable of running an offense. One guy we know who's able to do that is Peyton Manning. When you watch him play, Barrett, against this Carolina defense, which, man, they are fast, they're very athletic, do you think this is a good matchup for Peyton Manning?
You know what? I will say that this is not the opportune matchup for Peyton. Even though he checks to a lot of plays, it's a fundamentally sound defense. This defense, really goes about their business and understands how to take offensive coordinators apart, pick them apart, not just the quarterback, the offensive coordinator himself. I mean, you look at the two guys they have back there line, Kuechly and Davis. Those guys understand how to play defense. They understand where they're supposed to be at. They understand where everybody else is supposed to be at. That's why you have a linebacker like Kuechly has as many interceptions he has, and Davis has such an impact everywhere else on the field. It's hard to really beat a team like that. Even the great Peyton Manning, he's going to have his work cut out for him because even though he may read a blitz, he still has to execute. And with the way those guys run, the way they play from sideline to sideline, it's going to be hard for Peyton to really have the ability to check and really fool Luke Kuechly and Davis.
Yeah, which it's funny because Denver's defense last week, they were all over Peyton Manning. Can they come up with a similar game plan? Can they do the same thing they did to Brady to Newton this week?
I doubt that seriously. Even though you have some good pass rushers out there that can rush the passer on the outside, it really nullifies them at rushing the passer because they have the ability to run the ball. So if they run a read option and they leave, they crash down or try to rush the passer, Cam has the ability to take the ball himself and make magic with it. He can go run, and that makes them slow down on the rush because now they got to say, all right, is he running the ball? Is he passing the ball? Is he on the ball? Those are all things that's going to be running through their minds. So they're going to play a step slower than they would play if they were just playing with playing against a guy like Brady who's sitting back there. Where he's going to be at.
Barrett Brooks is with us, of course, Super Bowl champion with the Pittsburgh Steelers, played for the Eagles. You now see him on Breakfast on Broad, 6 to 8 a.m. on the Comcast Network. We mentioned Johnson, retiring. Do you think we're going to see more of this, more of these guys getting in and getting out with the concussions and the CTE? And do you think this will be more of a trend, Barrett?
I think it will be with the high-dollar guy that can afford not to play anymore. When you have the ability to sit back and really evaluate what your body is and how your body is going to be affected later on, when you're one of the low-dollar guys, you don't have that option because, it's either maximize your money-making potential while you have it or, going out and getting a regular job. And I think that fairy tale of playing in the NFL kind of outrules the fact that you want to just go in and retire after that. You'll put your body on the line a little more than a guy that's being paid the money that Calvin Johnson's being paid.
Now, you played 9 years offensive line. I mean, you're, 42, 43 years old now. I mean, do the effects of playing that long, I mean, do you feel that? Do you walk around? Or did you make it out? Were you a lucky one?
No, I'm not going to say I was lucky because my disability rating when I went through and got tested was 86%. But I am one of the lucky ones that I'm not as bad as I've seen. I mean, I've seen guys like Jerome Bettis take 30 minutes to get out of bed in the morning. And, guys like Randall L., having times where he forgets about what just happened or repeating themselves. I do that sometimes, but I make sure that I get myself checked out a lot more than most players. But, I mean, what you were getting signed up. You were signed up for when you went out there to play, but you can make it safer, and I think that's going to be a trending topic for most NFL players now. Can you really risk your body and risk, what you mean to your family just to, get paid right now. So, I mean, that's definitely something that a lot of players are going to have to think about.
Did you play with Randall L. in Pittsburgh?
Yes, I did.
Now
with him all 4 years I was there.
Okay, so he said last week that he would probably have played baseball if he had the opportunity. You hear things like that. I mean, you wonder how much longer can the game stay at this level before that starts factoring in, where the younger leagues are already stopping. I mean, the numbers are way down. Where this game is kind of heading when you hear a guy like Randall L. say, "Hey, go play baseball if you can."
When you sign $1 billion contract, the way the NFL just signed another contract with Thursday Night Football with another venue, you're going to be making that amount of money. It really doesn't matter. As long as that money, the whole power dollar goes in, they're going to keep on playing the game, period, point blank. It's all about the money first, and then, players' health. That's probably, a little farther down the line or the totem pole when you're being realistic about it.
By the way, Barrett mentioned it. CBS and NBC have combined for a new Thursday night package. So half the year on CBS, half the year on NBC for next year's Thursday night. And that was an astronomical number that they're getting for Thursday night. But Barrett, we're talking about guys retiring and these Thursday night games. It's not a very good product, but you just mentioned the money that is attached to it. It seems that the NFL doesn't really care.
Well, it's $500 million. I think it's like $450 million. Come on now. I mean, that's as close as you get to $500 million. So, I mean, say what you want to say. I mean, a CT scan here or there, I think the money aspect is going to far outweigh what the NFL is thinking as far as, players' health. At the end of the day, the product on the field is what they care about the most. It's not really the player. And they'll tell you that, as you saw in the movie Concussion and you've seen anything else, that almighty dollar is what's going to influence people that have the power to change policies.
Barrett, your favorite Super Bowl memory playing in the game was what?
Playing in the game, it would probably be going down the tunnel, and I'm standing next to my kicker, Jeff Reed, and he turns around and says, "Hey man, I'm about to kick off in this Super Bowl, and watch all these flashing lights." And I thought about it, and I looked over the corner, and I saw the Rolling Stones and Aretha Franklin on one side, and I saw Puff and Kid Rock on the other side. I'm like, wow, it's really about to go down. I'm really about to play in the Super Bowl, and that's when it really hit home and it sunk in.
Pretty cool stuff there, and I know the big game, of course, you can hear right here on 97.3 ESPN, and it's an interesting one. You got Cam Newton, the new kid on the block, against Peyton Manning, the old kid on the block. Will this be the last time we ever see Peyton Manning play in the NFL?
Oh, without a doubt. His body is starting to turn on him, and Father Time is old. I mean, he's whatever, and human body hasn't won yet. So, I mean, even as far as playing, he can't play forever, even though you want to, even though, I heard the stuff that Brady was talking about. Let Brady say that. I want him to say it again. I want to hear him say it after he got up the next morning playing against that defense and with Denver. I wonder what he said then. I know he wasn't talking the same stuff then, how much he got knocked down and hit. So, you can't play forever. Even though I felt like I did, I played 12 years. It felt like I played forever. You just can't do it. Your body can't do it. It's not meant to do this anyways. The human body is not meant to take the punishment, run, hit, lift and everything and expect it to stay together. It's going to eventually fail on you, and Father Time's always going to win.
What do you think, Barrett, this game means to Manning? I mean, a lot of people think, his postseason success, he only has the one Super Bowl. Do you think this is a big game for him, or Peyton Manning will be remembered very favorably regardless?
He'll be remembered favorably. I think the only person really that he'll be compared to, and that if they go in any type of discussion about anything about Peyton Manning, it won't be about what he did on the field. It'll be more of a comparison, and the only really negative thing they could talk about is him as opposed to Brady. That's all you can really say. Who was the better quarterback, Brady or Manning? Because both of them, I think, are 1 and 2 as far as best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And I played with a lot of great quarterbacks. I watched a lot of great quarterbacks from back in the day. I still think that, those two are probably the best they ever done as far as what they bring to the table and how they execute.
Good stuff. Barrett Brooks, everybody, a Super Bowl champion in his own right. Of course, with the Pittsburgh Steelers, it will be Broncos and Panthers this Sunday right here on 97.
Can't wait.
All right, give us your – I know it's early, but which way you leaning?
Man, I'm going to tell you the truth. Cam is a beast. My cousin Coney Healy is probably starting at right defensive end for the Carolina Panthers, but I might have to go in a different direction. I might have to go with Peyton Manning, simply because I've been a part of that storybook ending with Jerome Bettis and how we wanted to take him home. He retired. We wanted to take him back to Detroit, where he grew up. Where he cut his teeth in football, and take him back to Detroit and have him retire on the best note we could, and that's with a Super Bowl ring.
All right, so you're leaning towards the Broncos, and a lot of people looking forward to this matchup with these defenses going after each other. Barrett, of course, will recap the game next Monday.
Definitely, Rob. Have a good one now.
All right, brother. Take care. Barrett Brooks, Super Bowl champion. Breakfast on Broad, weekday mornings, 6 to 8 on the Comcast Network.